Let me ask you something. You've spent 30, maybe 35 years working, saving, doing everything you were told to do. You maxed out that 401k, you diversified, you stayed the course, and you got there. You have a real nest egg, maybe 300,000, maybe 600,000, maybe even more. And right now, you're either retired or you're within 10 years of retiring. You're close. And somewhere in the back of your mind, there's this question that won't go away. Is it actually going to be enough? If that's you, stay with me because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you your retirement income strategy that most financial advisors never bring up. Not because it doesn't work, but because either they're not licensed to offer it or they don't want it competing with the products that they're already selling you. My name's YWait. I'm a financial estate planner and a licensed insurance professional. I'm based here in Yuma, Arizona. I'm licensed in almost every state, and I've helped hundreds of families answer the one question most people are afraid to ask out loud. Will my money last as long as I do? Here's what I've learned. The answer depends almost entirely on one thing that most people have never heard about. Let me show you what it is. Here's something nobody tells you when you retire. The math changes completely. When you were working, you're putting money in. A market crash was painful, but it wasn't catastrophic. Why? Because you had time. The market went down, you kept contributing, and eventually it came back. Time was on your side. But the moment you retire and you start taking money out, time is no longer your friend. Let me explain this simply because most advisors skip right over it. When you're withdrawing from your portfolio, let's say you're pulling 4,000 a month and the market drops 30%. You're not just losing paper value. You're being forced to sell shares at the worst possible time every month to pay your bills. And those are shares you'll never get back. This is called sequence of return risk. And it is the single biggest threat to your retirement that nobody talks about at the kitchen table. Here's a simple example. Two people, same age, same 500,000 saved, same average return over the 20 years. Person A retires in a good market year. Their portfolio grows early, they take withdrawals, and 20 years later, they still have money left. Person B retires in a bad market year. 2 down years back to back. Their portfolio takes a hit right when they start withdrawing. And even though the market recovers, even though their average return over 20 years is identical to person A, they run out of money after 14 years. Same savings, same average return, completely different outcome. The only difference, when the losses hit. That is the sequence of return risk. And if your retirement plan doesn't account for it, it's not a complete plan. I want to tell you about a situation I've seen play out more than once. A couple retired in 2007, combined savings just over 800,000. They've done everything right. They worked with an advisor, they diversified, they have a plan, and then 2008 happened. Now, here's the thing. The market drop alone wouldn't have destroyed them. What destroyed them was the combination of the drop and the withdrawals. They needed income. They couldn't just wait for the market to come back. They had to pay the bills. In early 2010, after 2 years of withdrawal through a down market, they were sitting at just under 400,000. The math never recovered. At 68 years old, one of them went back to work. And I want you to, I just want to be really clear with you. That's not a scare tactic. I'm not here to create fear. I'm here because that story is real and it's preventable. And most people don't find out about the protection until after the damage is done. They don't find out ways to prevent it until after the damage is done. Here's what hits hardest about that story. They did everything right. Conventional wisdom failed them. Not because conventional wisdom is wrong for building wealth. It's wrong for protecting wealth. There's a massive difference between accumulation and distribution. And almost nobody teaches what I do differently once you flip from one to the other. That's what it's all about. So let me talk about a solution. And I want to explain this plain English because the financial industry has done a terrible job at making this understandable. The category of insurance products called fixed index annuities, FIAs. And I want to break it down exactly how they work because once you understand the mechanics, the logic is pretty hard to argue with. First, here's how the fixed index annuities work. First, the floor. Your money is not directly invested in the stock market. It's held by an insurance company, and your growth is linked to a market index, typically something like the S&P 500. Here's what that means in practice. If the market goes up 15% in a given year, your participation in a product portion of that gain, maybe 8%, maybe 10%. It depends on the product and your cap. If the market goes down 30%, your account doesn't go down at all. 0 is your floor. Your account cannot go backwards due to market loss. Think about what that means for sequence of return risk. The years that destroyed conventional retirement portfolios, 2001, 2008, 2020, those years simply don't touch your principal. You don't win as much on the upside as you would in a pure market investment, but you never lose. And in retirement, not losing is worth more than people realize. Second, the income rider. This is the part that creates your pension. Many fixed index annuities come with something called an income rider. You pay a small annual fee, typically around 1%, and in exchange, you get a guaranteed income stream that cannot turn off. You can turn it on whenever you're ready, but it does not outlive you. And I mean, it's guaranteed, regardless of what the market does, regardless of how long you live. Here's how the math works, and I'll keep it simple. Let's say you put in $200,000 in an FIA with an income rider. The rider gives your income base, not your account value, the guaranteed growth rate. Let's say 7% per year, compound for however long you wait to turn it on. You wait 10 years before you start income. Your 200,000 income is based it has a base of how it roughly grows 393,000. Now you turn on the income. The insurance company calculates your guaranteed monthly payment based on that income and your age. You could be looking at $1,800 to $2,200 a month for the rest of your life. Even if your account goes to 0. Let me say that again. Even if your account goes to 0. Even if you live to 100, that income doesn't stop. That's a pension. You just built your own pension. Third, the legacy component. Most people assume annuities mean that you hand your money over and it disappears when you die. That's not how modern FIAs work. When your beneficiary receives whatever account value remains when you pass. So your beneficiary will get whatever the account value is, whatever the remains are, when you pass. If you pass early, your family gets the money. The insurance company doesn't just keep it. And if you have a spouse, you can structure the income to continue for both of you. So the income never stops, regardless of which one of you passes first. Let me summarize what this product actually does. Your money grows linked to the market, but with a 0 floor. You can turn on the guaranteed income stream for life whenever you're ready. Your account value passes to your beneficiaries. You are completely protected from sequence of return risk. Is it right for everyone? No, nothing is. But someone with 250,000 or more in savings who wants to guarantee income and protect from market crashes, this is worth understanding. I want to address something directly. If this sounds so logical, why hasn't your financial advisor brought it up? A few reasons. One, most financial advisors are security licensed. Stock market, mutual fund, ETF, fixed index annuities are insurance products. They require a different license. Many advisors simply aren't licensed to offer them. Number two, the advisors who are licensed to sell traditional variable annuities often don't want to compete with their existing book of business. If you're already in a managed portfolio that generates ongoing fees, recommending an FIA that sits outside of that portfolio isn't in the financial interest. Number three, the financial media talks almost exclusively about accumulation, building wealth, growing your portfolio. There's almost no mainstream conversation about protecting income and distribution, which is the phase of life you're actually in when you retire. None of this means your advisor is bad at their job. It just means that maybe options are on the table that they've never really presented to you. That's a gap that I fill. My name's Jessica Wade. I'm the founder of YWait Wealth Management. We're based here in Yuma, but I am licensed in almost every state in the US. I'm a financial estate planner, and I am a licensed insurance professional. What that means is that I sit at the intersection of retirement income planning, estate planning, trust, wills, revocable living trusts, and asset protection, which also allows me to look at your complete picture, not just one piece. I got into this work because I kept meeting people who had done everything right, saved for decades, worked with advisors, followed the plan, and still felt uncertain. Still felt like something was missing. Still worried. What was missing in most cases was a conversation about guaranteed income and what happens if the market crashes the year you retire and whether their money would actually last. That's a conversation I have every day. I help hundreds of families in Arizona and across the country get clarity on their retirement income picture, not by selling them something, but by showing them options they'd never seen before and letting them decide. That's all I'm asking to do with you. So here's where we are. You understand sequence of return risk and why the conventional approach that builds wealth may not be the right approach to protect it. You understand how fixed index annuities work, the floor, the income rider, the legacy component. And you understand why this may never come up in your current financial advisor's relationship. The question is, does any of this apply to your situation? Honestly, I don't know yet. I don't know your numbers. I don't know your income sources. I don't know what gaps you have between Social Security coverage and what you actually need to live comfortably. I don't know what your goals are. That's exactly what a retirement income review is for. Here's what it is: a 45-minute conversation, complimentary, no obligation, no pressure. We'll look at your current income source, identify any gaps, run your actual numbers through a few scenarios, and I'll show you exactly what options are available to you, including whether an FIA makes sense for your situation at all. If it does, we can talk about how to structure it. If it doesn't, then I'll tell you directly. I'll leave you with more clarity and more understanding than what you came in with. If you have 250,000 or more in savings, IRAs, 401ks, brokerage account, savings, and you have any of these concerns, running out of money before you run out of life, another market crash hitting at the wrong time, not having guaranteed income stream beyond Social Security, then this conversation is worth 45 minutes of your time. Click the button below, answer a few questions so I can prepare before we speak, and then choose a time that works for you. That's it. No sales pitch, no pressure, no commitment of any kind. Just a conversation that can change the way you think about the next 20 to 30 years. I'll see you on the other side.